Okay, so let's have a look at a few of the English versions. I'll just pick a few out this time. I won't show you all of them. So these are some of the key ones. So this is obviously Terminator 2 Judgment Day, an absolute classic. It is in a gatefold format with 4 sides, so 2 discs with 4 sides. The first 3 sides are the main film, and then the 4th side is a making of documentary. And there's some nice stills from the film there. And then on the back it tells you that this is a special edition, includes the making of, and it is the full-length cinema version in widescreen. And then inside there was this letter from James Cameron, or Jim Cameron as he is known. It says, "These things matter to a filmmaker. Obviously we want everyone to see our films in the theatre first, but the Laserdisc is the best way we have of enjoying the film later, long after the theatrical prints have been retired, scratched and filthy to some forgotten warehouse. The widescreen format Laserdisc represents the truest translation of a film into an electronic medium presently available. One is able to watch the film with the full dynamic range of its surround sound faithfully reproduced digitally, and with the image uncropped and of the highest quality that current video resolution allows. A film like T2, which was shot in 2:35:1 aspect ratio, only looks right to my eye in the letterbox format. The shot compositions don't make as much sense when the image is shoehorned by cropping it to the standard 3:4 video aspect ratio. So what you are holding in your hands is by far the most faithful representation of the film outside of a movie theatre. T2 has been carefully transferred to video under my supervision, using state-of-the-art digital component video telecine equipment and high-fidelity digital sound. It's satisfying to know that decades, perhaps even hundreds of years from now, this film will look and sound as it does now. It's life encoded in the digital realm. Enjoy and don't forget to crank it up." Jim Cameron. Of course, had to have a Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, both of them in their English widescreen format. So this has both films, and has the chapter selection on the inside, images from both films on the inside, and then on the back it just gives you a little bit of information about each film. It says it is a double feature, and then each side of the gatefold has a single double-sided disc for each film. So no extras on this one, just both films in one double feature package. Okay, so the original Episode 4 Star Wars, before it was called Episode 4 A New Hope and was just known as Star Wars. 2 big screenshots and then a little bit of a description of what Star Wars is. I don't need to go into detail about Star Wars. I'm sure everyone has seen it or at least knows about it. Yep, so a nice little version of the original Star Wars film. Okay, so next we have Short Circuit, so the family comedy with Steve Guttenberg. I'm sure everyone knows again or has seen Short Circuit before. So it's got the description of the film and the description of the chapters. It's just a single disc, this one. Again, it's one of those films that I loved as a kid and I like to have a copy of. Okay, so now we have thrillers. So we have Michael Douglas in Basic Instinct. So this is the unrated director's cut of Basic Instinct, and then it has a separate disc with behind the scenes and full making of as well. So quite a lot of extra special features in this one. Again, it's maybe not the best film in the world, Basic Instinct, but it is a bit of fun, and this full director's cut version is better than the versions you see on the television. And then you've got your behind the scenes and production notes on the inside of the gatefold, and a nice image on the front. Basic Instinct normally isn't sold with this image. It's not an image that I'd seen prior to this Laserdisc. So a fun bit of sci-fi now, 1966's Fantastic Voyage. So it's just a little bit of fun, this one. It doesn't take itself seriously. The sets are a little bit ropey, like old Star Trek, 60s Star Trek, and this was playing on that sort of trying to be modern in the 60s, but doesn't quite pull it off. But it's a nice fun film, and a lovely graphic on the front there. Illustrations are beautiful on this one. So the first 3 Alien films, the only ones that anyone should really talk about if they're talking about Alien. Maybe not the third one, but still, if you're going to have a decent trilogy, you got to watch the third one. It's not the best, but a third film in a series is very rarely the best. So you've got a full description, some nice artwork, and then your chapter selection on Alien. Aliens is a gatefold. It's not. I thought it was. It's just got 2 discs in one, and then it's split into 3 sides because it's a longer film, and then it's got story and a bit of behind the scenes information on that one. And then Alien 3 widescreen edition, so it's just got 1 single disc, double-sided. It's got that iconic scene on they've chosen for the cover, and a little bit of information about Sigourney Weaver and the story, and then chapter index there. Right, another trilogy up next. So if you have the original Alien trilogy, you also have to have the original Die Hard trilogy as well. And so we have Die Hard, Die Hard 2 and Die Hard 3, or Die Hard with a Vengeance. So let's have a look at them in turn. So this is a Die Hard. Great image on the front there of the exploding Nakatomi Tower, and obviously Bruce Willis's startled face. Flipping over to the back, you've got the description and a few screenshots. And then this is a gatefold, so you've got your 2 discs, and then when you flip it open, you've got some behind the scenes information, lots more screenshots, and your chapter list on the 3 sides. And this one also came with a little apology correction as well. So it says, a summary on the back of this Laserdisc jacket incorrectly states the television series with which Reginald Val Johnson, who plays Sergeant Al Powell, is associated. In fact, Mr. Val Johnson stars in the television series Family Matters. And in here it said that he stars in TV's Rock, whatever TV's Rock was. He definitely wasn't in it, apparently. So again, another interesting little thing that they put in a correction note into the sleeve. Right, Die Hard 2 is just a single side, single disc. So you've got a description, making of information, a little bit of making of information, and then you've got the side 1 and side 2 chapters. So each of these comes with the trailer that plays after the end credits, so you can see the original Die Hard 2 and Die Hard 3 trailers as well. And the third one, some random pictures from the film, not particularly interesting shots. a little bit of information about what it's about, and then flipping it open, you've got a lot more behind the scenes information and chapter listings. And this one comes with all 3 theatrical trailers, so if you didn't have the other 2 and hadn't seen them already, you can watch the trailers one after the other again. It does have in it still this mail-in offer. So $15 mail-in rebate when you purchase all 3 Laserdiscs. See the other side of this rebate form for details. So if you had purchased all of the 3 American versions of the diehards, they all have one of these little proof of purchase labels in there. You cut it off, send it with this, and you get a $15 rebate for purchasing them all. But unfortunately the offer was only valid between November the 22nd 1995 and June the 30th 1996, so I think I might be a little bit late in claiming this, so I probably won't send it off now and try and claim some money back. They'll probably not even exist anymore in this PO box. Probably won't get me anywhere, but still interesting that they had an offer like that. More Steven Spielberg, this time with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So again, if you haven't seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I don't know what stone you've lived under for the past 30 years. But it's definitely one to see. The animation still stands up today if you watch it. It is mainly seamless in most parts, the interaction between the live action and the cartoon animated. And this one, interestingly, comes with a second disc. So the second disc is called It's Roger Rabbit, and it has 3 cartoon shorts on it. So I think that before a few of the other Touchstone pictures and Disney films in the cinema, they played a short, much like Pixar do now. There has a little short cartoon before the main film starts. They spread out 3 different Roger Rabbit cartoons. So they made 3 specific Roger Rabbit, Baby Herman and Jessica Rabbit cartoons, and those 3 are included on this disc as a separate disc. So there was Tummy Trouble, Roller Coaster Rabbit and Trail Mix-Up. I have watched all 3 of those, and they are surprisingly very sexually suggestive. I mean, I know the film did have its adult moments, but it's kind of like watching an episode of Ren and Stimpy or Family Guy or something. There is some quite risque and quite adult animated segments in there. Yeah, probably not for young children to watch. But anyway, it was one of those PGs that I don't know whether it would be a 12A now if it came out. Probably. But yes, Roger Rabbit, another great film. For another horror classic now, John Carpenter's The Thing with Kurt Russell. Again, it's probably one of the first horror films I ever saw, and it left a mark on me because obviously it is quite graphic and gruesome in its depictions, but it is a brilliant horror film, and if you haven't seen it, then it's certainly worth tracking down. The more recent remake isn't too bad either, but obviously the original is the best. And this one has the theatrical trailer at the end, and it is on 2 sides, but it also includes an exclusive interview with John Carpenter. Now, the exclusive interview isn't on the disc itself, which is a bit misleading. It is on this sheet of paper afterwards, so you might purchase it thinking, oh, I'm going to see an interview on the disc, but you don't. It is included on this insert, but it's still cool. It's a little fascinating little bit of a read through, which was done in 1993 when the Laserdisc release came out. Yep, so John Carpenter's The Thing. So, two films that as a youngster were a big influence on the comedy style that I enjoy. And these are the Airplane films. So we have the original Airplane and Airplane 2, the sequel. So lots of people have heard of Airplane. They've probably seen some scenes from it, especially Leslie Nielsen scenes. They might not have seen or even knew there was a sequel. Yeah, it's probably not as good, it's not as amusing, but it still follows the same comedy traits as the first one. And it sets up that whole spoofing genre with that clever comedy where there's things going on. It's not just what's in the foreground, there's things going on in the background. There's in-jokes that you need to be listening out for. You might be concentrating on one thing and notice something else. And you can go back and watch them multiple times and always see something new and amusing, which you don't get a lot of. It's very clever, quite juvenile in some places, but still very thoroughly entertaining and still holds up as a film that I can watch and still find amusing to this day. So obviously not too much to it, just some stills from the film and a little bit of information about the cast and what the film is about. And the same with the sequel, single disc, and it's got a little bit of information about it. It's nice that they kept the original cast members from the first one into the second one as well, minus Leslie Nielsen. But it does have William Shatner in the second one, so swings and roundabouts. Okay, so Tombstone from 1993 with Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer. This is one of those great films that very rarely gets discussed. It's one of those films that I think slips through the cracks and you don't really hear or see about it. It's never really mentioned, but it is a solid film. A nice modern take on a Western. So flipping over to the back, it is a double disc with 3 sides, and the cool thing about this one is that it has outtakes and commentary on the outtakes after the film. So the first sort of start of these outtake and bloopers trend, which is cool. It's something that you don't normally get on a Laserdisc, and outtakes and bloopers reel, so something different. And I haven't got it on DVD, so I can't tell you if the same outtakes are featured on the DVD. They probably are, but it's cool to have it. And no sleeve notes or anything with this one, but solid film if you ever get to see it. Tombstone. Okay, so it's coming up to the last of the few of my selected ones. I do have plenty more, but I'm only choosing a few because this video is running on now and I am aware of the time. So this is the most modern of the Laserdiscs I have. This is one of the ones in that last run of Laserdiscs before they were discontinued. So this is the X-Files movie, the first one, Fight the Future, from 1998. Again, if you're a fan of the series, then this is a must-have. It cemented the conspiracy storyline, which some love and some hate when it comes to the X-Files. It was probably at its peak at this point in time when it had the movie between seasons. A lot of money put into it, and you can tell from the visuals. And yeah, so this is just a widescreen edition of the movie on 3 sides, 2 discs. It does have closed captions, so you can bring up English subtitles if you need them. And it does have Dolby Digital 5.1 surround sound, so it sounds beautiful as well as looks beautiful. And who couldn't like that cover art with old Duchovny and Anderson smouldering looks there. Yeah, very good film. Even if you're not a fan of the series, it's a good film. So my final two are box sets. So I say box sets, they do come in a larger box style case. So this one is the original Jurassic Park. So it has a fossil cover, and then it's 2 discs. It is just the film on these 2 discs. It's just split into 4 sides. It comes in 2 sleeves, exactly the same cover art on both. However, it does come with a few extras, this one. So it comes with a couple of booklets. So this one is a behind the scenes booklet. It tells you some information about how it was made, and some information about the cast and how they went about making dinosaurs. There's a nice little island map there showing you where the locations of the dinosaur enclosures were in the film. And then the second booklet is the old Mr. DNA's facts. So it tells you all about what is DNA, where does it come from, what are the dinosaurs, how did we evolve, much like the information given at the start of the tour in the film. And then it splits that information onto a little poster as well, so if you wanted to put this on your wall, if you're a big fan of the dinosaurs, you have that as well as a little extra in the box. So yep, so no special features or anything to it. It's just a nice double disc edition with those extra booklets. This makes it a little bit more interesting than the standard release. Alright, let's jump over and look at what the final one is. Okay, so the last of my Laserdiscs that I'm showing today is this box set of The Complete Tex Avery. So this is a German release, however it is in all English, surprisingly, other than the spelling of complete on the top there. So Tex Avery was an American animator, so he did a lot of animations in the 40s, 50s and 60s, basically. He inspired quite a lot of animators, especially more modern animators. So they parodied in things like Who Framed Roger Rabbit and The Mask. It's probably his most famous animation is pictured here on the front, which is Red Riding Hood and the wolf. Obviously, if you haven't seen it, the wolf is going to a nightclub where Red Riding Hood is playing, and she is on stage doing her whole sexy routine, much like Jessica Rabbit does in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the wolf wants a bit of action, and so his eyes are popping out, his tongue coming out of his head, that type of thing. Very amusing, but probably quite sexist now. I think a few of these animations have been banned from being played on television because of the suggestive nature, and obviously there are slightly bad representations in animated form of certain things, shall we say. Prejudices, however you say it. So it's 5 discs, so it has every Tex Avery cartoon that came out. Its most famous character was probably Droopy the dog, with a very low voice. So 5 discs with all of your cartoons on there, and then it's broken down into chapter search, where it tells you each of the films that were released. I don't think they're in any particular order. It would have been nice if they ran in a sort of running order of the earliest and first ones that were released up to the last ones that were released, but I don't think it does run in any particular order. It would also have been nice on the chapter selection if it told you the dates that each of the animations were released. But obviously these were animations that used to play before features when you went to the movies. So having a collection like this, they're not really shown on the television, and so it's nice to have all of these in one place to be able to watch over and think how times have changed in some respects. I stand corrected. It does say in here, I've never got to admit I've never looked thoroughly at this in it. It does tell you exactly when each one was released and a description of each one. So it does run from 1942 with Blitzwolf in a World War II parody of the Big Bad Wolf versus the Three Little Pigs, and then runs all the way until his last film in 1957 with The Cat's Meow, which is a remake of another film that he made called Ventriloquist Cat, which I'm sure is on this selection somewhere. He didn't die in 1957. He didn't die until 1980, but that's when he stopped making animations. I guess that was when the period of the Looney Tunes and Disney Company came in, and his cartoons were felt to be too adult, and they wanted to appeal to a younger generation at that time. So they went out the window, unfortunately. But they are very amusing. If you've never seen Tex Avery, I'm sure if you look it up on YouTube, you might be able to find some of the original Tex Avery cartoons. But it's a great set. I don't know whether you can buy this on DVD. It's not something that I've seen in the shops. So I've looked on HMV and Amazon, and they only seem to have like an imported sort of compilation thing, but I don't know if it's got all of them on. But I know that this set certainly has all of the animations that he did, so it's really nice. It's probably one of my gems at the moment in my collection, and it's something that I go back to. Right, so before we finish this video, I'm just going to show you the Laserdisc player that I have, and show it in action, just to show you exactly how a Laserdisc player worked. Okay, so this is my Laserdisc player. It is a Pioneer CLD1750. It is an older model Pioneer, so it does not automatically change sides, so you do have to physically remove the disc and flip it over. This is the beast of a remote control. So as you can see, you've got numbers for your chapter select. You've got A-B repeat, so you can choose to repeat a certain section of the film. You've got multi-speed, so you can speed it up and speed it down. You've got step, so you can freeze frame certain discs. You've got scan, which is a fast forward and a skip. Or you've got this little wheel here, so you can pull it forward or pull it in reverse, and it will fast forward or rewind. And then the second you let it go, it stops exactly on the frame that you've put it on. So it's very easy to track to a certain part of the film without having to try and go backwards and forwards and get it exactly right, or remember the time stamp that it is on. Okay, so on the front of the player you have exactly the same stuff. So you've got the scan wheel, you've got the play, you've got the eject, you've got the stop, you've got the numbers. You've got a volume control here, minimum to maximum, and a headphone input output. So if you wanted to listen to it via headphones, you can plug it directly into here and you can control the sound level directly from the player itself. So let's pop open the player then, so we turn it on. So it can play CDs as well, so you can use it as an audio system if you have CDs. Open the drawer. So this is the drawer. As you can see, there are multiple compartments for various size discs. So we're going to put on the Toy Story disc that I have. So the discs are numbered, number 1, so we'll put the side facing 1 facing upwards and put it back in, and it will start automatically. Okay, so pressing play on the player tells you that it's playing side A, and the format is NTSC for this particular disc. And then it starts on chapter 0. So you get your normal piracy warning that you get on a DVD or a Blu-ray to begin with. So the black banding that you can see going up on the screen is just from the filming of the television. It's not what I can see.
96年秋、ついにビデオで登場。ディズニーで一番のおとぼけスター、グーフィー初の劇場用長編アニメーションがいよいよビデオで登場。夏休み、グーフィーの息子マックスには計画が。じゃあ後で電話するよ。分かったわ。でもパパにも考えがあった。じゃあ釣りに行くの？ものすごく楽しい夏休みになるぞ。めまいしてきた。心温まるお話のはずが、なぜか大騒ぎに。雪男だ。でもマックスにも分かってきた。パパはなかなかやるってことだね。胸ドッキドキの冒険がいっぱい。君もグーフィーやマックス、みんなと一緒に楽しんじゃおう。クールに決めるのもなかなかどうして楽じゃない。パパがグーフィーだとね。グーフィームービー、ホリデーは最高。僕のビデオだよ。グーフィームービーのビデオには映像特典としてオリジナルミュージッククリップが収録されています。
Okay, so like I said, you can then fast forward it by holding the dial in, and it runs through, and you can just stop it where you want.
Birthday parties today? Okay, everybody, coast is clear. Ages 3 and up. It's on my box. Ages 3 and up. I'm not supposed to be babysitting Princess Drool.
So choose a chapter, and it will jump to that chapter. Much like a DVD, just choose exactly what chapter you want. It does take a little bit more time than maybe a DVD to find the chapter.
This favorite toy.
but it gets there in the end. Okay, there we are. That is the Laserdisc. Thank you for watching today's episode. Please like, comment and subscribe just to let me know your feelings. Did you like any of the films that I have shown you? Do you like the sound of the Laserdisc? Or is there any films that I have that you don't like? Start a little discussion about it below. Join me next time for something different on Let's Try from Japan.